All systems ready.
Hey, all of our nerds out there. This is the Master Rules Lawyer coming back at you to continue our little project of going through every D&D spell out there, starting with cantrips and just ranking them on a scale of D to S class to decide what are the best spells out there. Going to be starting with cantrips, going through level 9 spells, and we're looking at Booming Blade now. And just before I go into this specific spell, I want to go through our rankings. How we go about ranking these. S class is going to be the best of the best, creme de la creme, the kind of spell that if you can possibly pick it up, you want to pick it up. Sometimes you're even going to want to grab a feat or something else that um, something else to be able to have access to it, like multi-class, something along those lines. Um, where if this spell can possibly work with your build, you want this. A class, A tier, it's going to be. It's not going to be a absolute must pick, but it's going to be a very strong pick most of the time. 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, even. Um, if you have this available, you're going to pick it up. You're not going to go so far as to pick up a feat or multi-class to pick it up, but the spell is time and time again going to be very reliable. And anytime that it works with your build and it's available, you're almost certainly going to grab it or at least give it a very strong consideration. And then we're looking at B tier. B tiers, it's a little bit more niche. Spells that in the right build or the right situation can be still really good, but other times they might underperform or just not come up very often. C tier is going to be a little bit more middling. Most of the time, you're not going to want to pick up the spell. Most of the time, there are going to be better options and are other ways to achieve what you want to achieve, or the situation where it comes up is just so rare that it's usually not worth packing. But it's not a trap. It does have its uses. Sometimes it can be still a really cool spell to have, but most of the time, just not what we want. And then we have D tier, the traps, the spells that even if they look good on paper, you don't want to pick these spells up. Um, they're just not ever going to be the best option available to you. Um, there is almost always going to be something that can perform better, um, almost always just a better pickup um, out there for you. So, with that in mind, let's look at Booming Blade. It's from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, but of course, it was available for that, I think, maybe in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's certainly out of Tasha's. It's an evocation cantrip, casting time, one action, range of self, uh, with a 5 foot radius. Um, Components, somatic material, and the material being a melee weapon worth at least 1 silver piece. Uh, Duration of 1 round. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's attack's normal effects and then becomes sheathed in a booming energy until the start of your next turn. If the target willingly moves 5 feet or more before then, the target takes 1d8 thunder damage, and the spell ends. At higher levels, it's going to deal an additional 1d8 thunder damage, as with many other cantrips. The damage die just increases level 5, 11, and 17 by 1d8 at level 5, 2d8 at level 11, and 3d8 at 17th level. And that applies to the damage that you do on your attack, and also the damage they take if they move. So keep that in mind, because it can be a lot of extra damage there. Now, the first thing I want to draw attention to when talking about Booming Blade is the change that happened with Josh's color and everything when Wizards went and added this stipulation that the melee weapon has to be worth at least one silver piece. This was to prevent abuse for, like, I think with like the component pouch or something. People were saying like, oh well, my component pouches allows me to pull out any component. Well, a sword is a component of this spell, so I can just pull out this sword, and that's, there was some shenanigans going on there. Some people have interpreted this to mean you can't use weapons like Shadow Blade or other conjured weapons that don't have a set value to include this. And to that, it raises the question: what makes a weapon worth one silver? I mean, having a blade made of pure shadow. I mean, even for a minute, uh, that that's worth a silver piece to some, probably. Um, but really, I don't think that was the intention here. Jeremy Crawford did clarify that it wasn't the intention of that change to keep it from applying to weapons like Shadow Blade or Flame Blade or what have you. And you know, he would certainly allow it. Some people take Jeremy Crawford's opinion on things a little bit more seriously than others. Sometimes those opinions can kind of conflict with each other. Some of his rulings aren't always consistent, but I'm personally of the school of thinking that if that's not the way it was intended, that's not the way I personally consider Booming Blade. As long as it's not, as long as it's being applied to a combat scenario, it's not like you go into those sort of shenanigans with the component pouch or other things that people were doing that really necessitated this. I'm cool with it. You can do a lot of cool things. That said, I also want to say that I'm a little bit biased about Booming Blade. I really like my Gish characters, my spell wielding weapon users like uh, paladins and blade singers and eldritch knights, or um, hex blades. Those are my kind of characters. I love having the best of both worlds. So Booming Blade to me is almost an absolute must have. So when I give this spell a high ranking, you know where I'm coming from. Um, I did forget to mention the spell is available for artificers, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards on the optional spell list for all of those, about except artificers. Um, but since pretty much everything out of Tasha's have that little caveat. Anyway, again, a little bit biased here, but for me, Booming Blade is an S class, as in if it works with your build, this is a spell you absolutely want to take. It's if you are running a Gish character that can use a combination of spells um, and melee weapons, um, you got to pick it up. It um, makes just, I mean, well, I guess I'm a little torn. Um, Maybe I'm on edge between S and A here, and here's why. I came into this up till like just now, wanting to say absolute S tier pick it up no matter what. But for one, I don't think I'd ever go pick up a feat to grab it. Um, and also, Booming Blade loses a lot of value once you have a character that has extra attack, because you can't use extra attack with Booming Blade. Because casting the spell is your action, you can't use it on multiple attacks because you kind of have to choose. I still think you want it on that character with extra attack because you like to have those options. So I still think it's a really strong choice for your like blade singers and paladins and such, but it does lose its mileage. Now, if you're like me and love the uh, the Sorcerin multi-class sorcerer paladin, and you can uh, use quicken meta magic to use your booming blade on that, uh, you know, then I think it's S tier, for sure, um, because then you can do your extra attack and then quicken for a third attack. Um, it's awesome, and there are times even without that. Like I said, you might trade your extra attack for a booming blade. Sometimes you're going to get more mileage out of that. Um, so while I came into this absolutely prepared to give it S tier, uh, while I was just talking through it, I changed my mind. I'm going to have to give it an A tier, uh, but it's a high A for me. I love this spell. I think it is just something you always want to have with your Gish characters. Um, so yeah, let's uh, let's talk about it in the comments if you guys um, have any if you disagree with me, you think I ranked it too high, not high enough, let me know. If you got a character that you really liked using Booming Blade with, or if you have any cool stories involving Booming Blade, uh, love to hear them. um, of course, yeah, like I said, this is a new channel, and we are just starting to going through this. So any likes and subscribes and shares, anything like that to help get the channel some traction, always appreciated. And yeah, definitely give me your comments. Love to hear what you guys have to say about these spells. If you can make me see a spell in a new light, that's awesome. Um, yeah, like I said, we're going to be going through all of these. I can't say how quickly we're going to be getting through this list. I'm going to be putting out content that's not just D&D, and I'm not going to be doing this every day, so it might be some slow going. But today I'm putting out multiples. There's probably going to be other days that I will too, so we'll see how that balances out. But yeah, thanks for checking it out, guys. Appreciate a like and subscribe, and hope to see you next back here for the next one. And yeah, everybody have a good one. Thanks for stopping in.